Hi everyone, JustusRStone here. Welcome back to the channel. Today I am reviewing Volume 2 of The Rising of the Shield Hero. This is the light novel series by Aneko Yusagi. In this volume, Nafumi, the shield hero, and his companion Raphtalia find that they are still being treated like dirt by the king of the particular region that they have been brought to defend. Unlike the other heroes who are being presented with lots of money and opportunities, the shield hero has basically been made a villain by the king's very own daughter. And so he's really left to his own devices in order to survive and to become stronger, because the second wave of destruction is coming within 45 days. Now, I thought a lot about how to explain exactly what happens in this story in a way that wouldn't be spoiler-filled, and really that's all I can come up with, because if you think that the waves of destruction and the battling of the waves of destruction is the main plot and the main point of this series, you would be forgiven for thinking that this volume was nothing but filler, because there is no wave of destruction in this volume. It is literally about Nafumi traveling the countryside, becoming stronger, and figuring out a way for him to make money, essentially, and meeting new friends, creating new alliances, and so forth. In essence, reading this book is very much like watching somebody play a console JRPG. We all know it. If you play JRPGs, you all come into that point where it's like, okay, I'm going to leave the main storyline and do a whole bunch of side missions because I need money, I need to level up, I need to learn abilities. And that's where this book comes into play. So in that essence, it is very much like a JRPG. It's very much like seeing how a JRPG plays out. And again, like I said, if your main focus is thinking the waves of destruction are the story, you're going to think this is all filler. Thing is, if you take it at face value, The Rising of the Shield Hero, you'll realize that this book is actually pretty integral to this whole story, because there is a lot of character building about Nafumi. In Volume 1, spoilers if you haven't read Volume 1, but why are you watching a review 2 if you haven't read Volume 1? But anyway, in Volume 1, Nafumi, it's very much about the world, and it's very much about Nafumi getting screwed over by the world and why he's angry at the world. And it isn't really until we get to the very end of Volume 1 that there's this glimmer of hope that Nafumi sort of realizes that maybe there is at least one person, being Raphtalia, who sees him in a positive light, and that sort of demonstrates that there's something good in this world. So Volume 2 then is this journey where he has sort of this starting point of, okay, the world is probably still kind of lousy, and there's lots of lousy people in it, and there's lots that makes me angry, but there is something to grab hold of and say, this is something that potentially is positive. And so this book is very much about him sort of growing as an individual and finding his place in this world that's more than just hating it and trying not to die. Once again, the book is told from first person, from Nafumi's point of view. I actually really enjoyed this one. I find it very readable. The thing is that because it is a bunch of sort of little side missions and it's sort of him traveling the countryside, the pace is very quick. There's sort of a major event per chapter, and then we move on to something new. So it really makes the book feel that it's constantly in a forward momentum. Again, this is all based on the idea that you care about the character and that you're interested in the character's journey and seeing how he's going to overcome all of these hurdles that have been put in front of him. The other thing that I find really interesting about this volume is that it starts to play with a bit of this idea of how Nafumi's relationship with the world and the people in this world is totally different from that of the other heroes, and mostly it's probably because he started off as such an underdog and so poorly viewed by others. In a lot of ways, because of the hurdles that Nafumi's had to overcome and because of the prejudices that he's had to deal with, it makes his journey a lot more interesting, and it makes it so that you realize he truly is living in this world as much as he hates it. He's probably living more in this world than the other heroes who are just seeing it as something that they are there to conquer. As I said in the first volume, chances are you're not going to find a lot in this volume that you are going to think is incredibly unique. About the only thing that's really unique is the character of Nafumi himself that continues from Volume 1. And that's the fact that we have this hero who isn't really interested in being a hero. In fact, it's funny because I was thinking about this as I was, thinking about this review. But I was thinking it's funny because Naofumi is probably more like an actual gamer playing a JRPG than anybody else in this series. And pretty much anybody else who's been stuck in one of those game world type things. Because as gamers, we don't really view the world as something that we live in per se, or that we love. I mean, we do fall in love with the stories and characters, but I mean, in essence, we are, when we go into a world, we are looking for, okay, yeah, I'm going to help your village, but what am I going to get out of it? How much money? What cool items? And that's exactly how Naofumi sort of approaches this. And it's funny because part of you sort of feels like he's an anti-hero because he's like, yeah, sure, I'll help you at a cost. But at the same time, like I said, in terms of a game, that's exactly what we do as gamers when we're playing these RPGs. We don't really do things out of the goodness of our heart. We do it because we're like, yeah, I'm going to make money, I'm going to get special items, I'm going to find some new dungeon with all sorts of stuff that I can level up on. I mean, again, the same thing that's driving Naofumi is probably the same thing that drives every person who games and plays JRPGs. So what it boils down to is this. If you read Volume 1 and you bought into the character and the character made you think, hey, I want to see what happens with this guy, then you will most likely really enjoy Volume 2. I certainly did. If you did not like him, if you did not like Naofumi, if you didn't give a damn about where he's going and how he's going to end up and what's going to happen to him, then there's probably nothing in Volume 2 that's really going to change your mind. Aside from the fact that, yes, there is some slight glimmers of more redemption to his character in this one than there was in Volume 1. So those are my thoughts on Volume 2 of The Rising of the Shield Hero. Thank you so much for watching. Click on subscribe so that you can see my next video, which will feature the novel Seraph of the End, Guren Ichinoise, Catastrophe at 16. This, very much like the other novels that I have previously done, the Before the Fall Attack on Titan novels, is a prequel to the manga Seraph of the End, as well as the anime that was based off the manga. So I'm going to be reviewing this next time, so check it out then. Thank you again for watching. Click on like because it's great to know that you guys appreciate these videos. I will see you when I review this book next time. Until then, bye-bye for now.